For the next paper, we have teams from Ipsos and Nestle, and their session is themed Exploring the Uncharted Territories to Identify Innovation Opportunities in a Competitive Market. Welcome, Team Ipsos and Nestle.
Once again, hello everyone. We are Team Ipsos and Nestle. Now, before I start, I request you all to just think of the answer to 3 questions I have in my mind. First of all, in the last week, not the typical MRSI day, but the typical average work day, how many meals did you typically consume in a day? Whether it is main meals or small meals. Second, just think of in any time in the afternoon or evening, how much time did you really take to decide what to consume? And the third, what order do you think Maggie came to your head when you wanted to really consume something? Our findings suggest that typically an average consumer takes around 2 seconds to decide what to consume, and in those 2 seconds, 10 options cross his mind. We wanted to ensure that Maggie or any Nestle category is top of mind. Now, with this objective, we wanted to take ourselves the task and explore how do we really identify the white spaces in the light meal space. My name is Shilpa. I'm the 4 Insights lead at Nestle.
Hi, I'm Deepti from Ipsos.
Together, we will take you through our journey of how we integrated different sources and different pieces of research with Ipsos to arrive at opportunity within the light meal space. Now, just a little bit of context. When we think of food architecture in India, our lifestyles have really changed our consumption patterns. It's no longer just 4 traditional meals a day, but 6 to 7 light meals, as you can see on this slide, right from light meals in the afternoon to evening to late night snacking occasion, the Netflix occasion. It's becoming a plethora of consumption opportunities for a manufacturer. With this objective, we saw a diary placement result, and we saw that Nestle categories and mostly Maggie occupies around 4 meal occasions within a 24-hour span, as well as 24 occasions captured in the last 1 week. This fragmentation of meal structure has provided an immense opportunity to play in the light meal space. We wanted to ensure that we identify an implicit methodology, especially because food choices are made subconsciously and not really overt. So why really go with claimed responses? So hence we approached Ipsos to help us understand what are the white spaces in the repertoire as well as assess their potential.
We basically had a 3-phase framework to answer these questions. What we did is all these phases incorporated either AI or predictive analytics at each stage. As a step 1, being a dominant brand, we wanted to protect our core share. Therefore, we wanted to understand who are our consumers, how likely are they to switch, why are they switching out, to what are they switching out. Next up, for these consumers, we wanted to understand their needs. So when they are talking about a light meal, when they are thinking about snack, what are their subconscious needs? What is it that they look for? This would actually act as a springboard in defining the role of innovations as well, going forward to make sure that we have a robust portfolio. And finally, we wanted to go to the market with these innovations as soon as possible, and therefore we wanted to test them in a very agile and a robust fashion. Starting off with the brand switch part. What do we mean by brand switch? As a consumer, we are very likely to either stay with a brand or go to another brand. Why will I stay with a brand? When I'm satisfied or when I'm loyal to brand or there's a basic inertia. I could change a brand, let's say when there's a need for change, or a category like ours where there's a lot of frequency of purchase that's happening. What we did is we asked consumers to respond to a certain set of statements which understood the switching behavior in a lot more detail. After that, we also understood from them the switching behavior of the consumer done in the past. Post that, we used our integrated model, which actually combined both the switching behavior statements and the switching past behavior, which gave us one number for each respondent, a kind of a probability on how likely are they to switch in the future. We got the results. All of us are actually spoiled for choices, and that's what the results showed. 80% of the consumers were likely to switch in the future. We do have a plethora of options. Why were people willing to switch? Because there was a need for a palette variety. They also felt there was a lack of differentiation between the existing brands. This trend was much more pronounced among the youth, which was a key target group for us as well as the competition. This entire exercise re-emphasized our focus on the innovation. Why is the innovation a lot more critical for us to make sure that we keep our brand appeal high among the consumers? Then in the next step for these consumers, we did see very high switching behavior. We wanted to understand their subconscious needs. As a brand, we do have a lot of conventional, traditional research work that is done. Quantitative exercises usually are done in a very scaled, long questionnaires. We end up with a lot of system 2 data, very rational thinking. Consumers don't tell you why they are doing it, they're justifying why they said what they said a minute back. So the responses are a lot more justification of choices and not really their subconscious needs. This was the biggest starting point for us that this is not something we wanted. We wanted the system 1, the subconscious needs of them when they are making a decision making. It's quite fast. So what is it that they're thinking about? A lot of our qualitative colleagues have used visual metaphors a lot in the past. Visual metaphors is where you show an image to the consumer and you ask them to respond. What we did is we asked the consumer to go back and think of the last light meal occasion that they've had. And then from a list of 200 images, we asked them to select up to 5 images that best describe that occasion. We kept the product completely out of the equation and just think about the occasion. Once the consumers had selected the 5 images, we asked them to explain why did they select the images. The images was just a tool here to see what is it that they are thinking about, how are they reacting. What we got was a much more sharper truth, much more sharper human insights. And while it sounds very tough, 200 images, the consumers in reality were able to finish it off in just 3 minutes. We have a small snippet video of how an actual consumer played the video and did the entire thing.
Please select 5 pictures which express what you were looking for in the instant noodles you had last time.
Last time I had noodles, I had it with my family. That's why I chose this picture as it represents bonding, and I also added vegetables the last time. So also that is why I chose this picture, because it represents fitness.
This was very much aligned to the visual culture of the consumers today. She would find it very easy. While the 200 images, we wanted to start with a large library, not narrow it down to the consumers. She found it very easy to scroll it, explain. So the couple represented the family movement, the strength came from the veggies. She was able to talk it through. And as a result, most of our consumers talked about at least 3 needs on their own. The needs that we got were a lot more emotional, intuitive, and impactful. What do we do next? We had huge amount of unstructured data because of this exercise. We had a lot of open ends across the consumers. Here, what we did is we used a AI-based topic modeling. That AI-based topic modeling actually helped us narrow down from 1,800 plus responses to just a 10 key needs of consumers. We had key needs like my kind of taste, convenience, quick fix, nostalgia. For each of these needs, we had a detailed deep dive and renditions. So when consumer talks about a specific need, what is it they're talking about? So when I'm talking about a craving or a nostalgia, what are my images that the consumers talked about? What are the key words that were coming common across all the consumers? What were their demographic profile and their consumption habits? The key images and the key words also helped us narrow it down, actually help us as an input in the concepts later on. So what is it that the consumers talk about? What are the most important things that we cannot miss going forward? But we didn't want to stop here. What we did is we wanted to link the key needs back to the earlier data. So what we did is we looked at the key needs, we looked at the switching behavior of the consumers, and we tried to marry the two data both together. We look at for example, in the second row, we talk about a quick fix need among very high switchable consumers. We understood their demographic details, their consumption habits in detail, and then we brainstormed and came up with a lot of innovation ideas that can actually help cater to that need. We had a plethora of innovation ideas thanks to this exercise. Next up, we wanted to go to the market with these innovation ideas. We wanted to test them all. We wanted results for everything and then prioritize what do we want to go next with. What we did here is basis the learnings from the earlier study, the metaphors, the words being used by the consumers. From the concepts that were created, we showed the concepts to the consumers and we took their top of mind reaction. So what is the first impression that comes to their mind when they look at the concept? Just a 1 minute, no additional questions, nothing else, just one simple open-end question. That's it. After that, we had an AI model that was trained extensively on the database of all the previous innovation work that we had done in the past. The trained AI model was actually able to give us an early stage measure success of the consumer. So normally when we are testing multiple concepts, we do end up with a 2-month kind of a timeline. With this way, we were able to actually wrap it up in 1 week and just a 5-minute length of interview for each respondent. So very quick, very precise results.
The findings actually strongly helped in defining the right space and positioning strategy for 3 key launches for us this year. Whether it is spicy Manchurian, which plays to the youth in a soulless midday occasion, or the health portfolio for the breakfast or the late evening occasion, again for youth as well as teens, we saw very strong value-added growth for our portfolio, non-classic range, and this is where we can say that this is also pointing to the proof of the pudding. Now the findings as well as the innovations are hot off the press and we can't really say how much exactly the bar will raise in the next 6 months, but we are fairly confident of this and we feel that the AI and predictive analytics really helped a strong, agile and focused mechanism to identify the right output for us. Thank you so much for listening to us.
How did you ensure that the consumers looked at all the 200 images and didn't just select the ones at the top?
Yes.
How did you ensure that the consumers looked at all the 200 images and didn't just select the ones at the top?
Yes. So the image selection actually becomes very critical and respondents in India do tend to look at the top. So images were rotated. One of the things that we did here is that we trained our interviewers very, very well. Both in terms of probing, we didn't want responses like this is good, this is me. We trained our interviewers very well to make sure that when the face-to-face interviews are happening, respondents are looking through all the pictures. They know the option that they can unclick, click, they can select whatever they want as long it's up to 5. And the interviewers make sure that they were looking at all pictures.
Thank you.